All right, this is part 3. I have 50 minutes left on my phone. So I'll babble on for 30 minutes, and then in my remaining 20 minutes, I'll read the rest of Lord of the Rings, which is more than enough time, obviously. So I'll babble on for another 30 minutes. This is part 3, and I will read, and then the remaining 20 minutes, I will read Lord of the Rings, obviously. Yeah, you know how John Wick is actually John Wick is rated R. Yeah, it's dark. If you want to do justice for the Great Escape story, you have to have it rated R, man. You have it PG-13, the movie won't be as good. You know what I'm saying? You have to have me and my wife swear. If you want to have realism in your movie, you have to have if you have characters swearing and all that stuff, it creates more tension for the movie, obviously. Hence why for what? They're unique. I won't have it rated R. They're unique. I'll have it. I don't know. I'll have their unique 16 plus. For the Hidden Vampire movie, I want it rated R, and I want the Great Escape movie to be rated R. You know how John Wick is rated R? It's dark. You want to get dark. If you want to do justice for the story, and you have all these scary him and coming out to my wife, you have it as a PG movie. It won't be as good. You have to have it rated R, in my opinion. Ivan, why are you into darker movies? Because dark rated R movies, it creates more realism for your story because people are swearing, shit's going down, shit's real. Whereas if you have a PG movie, yeah, it's good, but some of the stuff is sugarcoat and it's dialed down, obviously. So for my Great Escape movie will be rated R. I want the Great Escape movie to be rated R. I don't want it to be some PG movie, no man. Otherwise, it won't be as good. You have to have the movie be rated R. You know how John Wick is rated R? It's dark and violent. I want it to be rated R, the Great Escape movie, obviously. So even when I'm looking for jobs, you see me frustrated, I'm swearing. You know what I'm saying? And that way it creates more tension for the movie, obviously. So the Great Escape movie, I want that movie to be rated R. They're unique, I'll have it 16 plus. Not rated R, no. But I'll have it 16 plus, they're unique. That way you create a better story, obviously. And what? If you have it rated R, you're going to have a better story. You're going to have a better story, guaranteed. The only bad thing about rated R is that a lot of younger kids can't watch it, but even younger teens watch rated R movies, obviously. And you guys can't say shit to me, Ivan. You're doing dark movies. I'm like, look, man, you turned me into a porn star and you killed me, so you can't say shit. I shut you up for good, obviously. Yeah, Ivan, you're doing rated R movies where you're swearing. I'm like, look, man, you turned me into a porn star. You caused mess of my life, and you killed me, and you can't say shit. Yeah, I shut you up for good, obviously. Zanus has to be rated R. If you want to have a good story for Zanus, it has to be rated R. The Great Escape movie, I want it to be rated R. Very unique. I'll have it be 16 plus, 14, 16 plus, whatever it is. So it's a darker movie too, but I don't want it to be like rated R. The Hidden Vampire movie, I want that movie to be rated R. Obviously, if you want to have these vampires scary ass vampires, they won't be as scary. They won't be as scary as the wolves in Lord of the Rings. But you're looking at something freaky. You're looking at it. You know how 30 Days of Night the vampires were scary? Well, think of vampires scarier than that, man. You're looking at something creepy. It'll be rated R because they'll be swearing in it, some bloody stuff with the guns in the Hidden Vampire movie, and the vampires, I want them to be creepy too. Obviously, they won't be as scary as the wolves in Zanus. As the wolves in Zanus are literal devils on the screen, but you're looking at something scary for the Hidden Vampire movie too. The Hidden Vampire movie, you're looking at something fucking scary. You're looking at scary ass vampire, something freaky. You're looking at something pretty freaky. You're gonna be like, holy shit! But it's not gonna be as scary as Zanus. Zanus, you're looking at little devils on the screen. You're looking at something. You're looking at revolutionary horror for Zanus. And the Hidden Vampire movie, you're looking at a horror movie too. You're looking at scary vampires on the island, obviously. And the Western Gangster movie, I can have that movie rated R too. So all my 5 movies are pretty much rated R movies. Obviously. The reason why I want my movies to be rated R is that way you do justice for the story. If you have a rated R movie, you're gonna get a more amazing story because you get more realism because in real life when people are going through a tough time and they're frustrated, they swear, obviously. Whereas if you don't have them swear, if you have a movie PG, you can make a good PG movie, obviously. But if the organization movie was PG, it wouldn't be as good, man. You have to have it rated R, 16 plus or rated R. But I want it to be rated R. That way you have a more darker movie, obviously. I want it to be dark. Whereas they're unique, I'll have it like 14 plus, 14, 16 plus, whatever it is. Hidden Vampire movie, I'll have that movie rated R. The Hidden Vampire movie, I'll have it 16 plus. I don't have to have that rated R. I can have the Hidden Vampire movie, I'll make it 14 plus. I don't have to have that movie rated R. I'll make it 14 plus. Actually, no. The Hidden Vampire movie, I'll make it rated R. And that way you have better quality for your movie, obviously. And the Western Gangster movie, I want that movie to be rated R too, obviously. If you have it rated R, you're gonna get a better movie, obviously. You know how you remember that Joker movie that came out? in 2019. Remember how that was rated R and you got top notch quality like that? If you want to get top high end quality for your movie, you have to have rated R. That way, because rated R movies, you create more realism for your movie. Obviously, people swear when they're mad; it's more real. Whereas PG, they say damn when they're angry. When in real life, when people are angry, they all swear. That way, hence why I want my movies to be rated R. Obviously, right? Rated R. And my Spider-Man Miles Morales movie, that movie I'll make it PG. Spider-Man, you can have it PG-13, 14 plus. If I make my Spider-Man Miles Morales movie, I'll make it 14 plus. I won't make it rated R, as you don't make those movies rated R. But if I end up purchasing the rights of Spider-Man Miles Morales after my five movies, I'll make those movies what? I'll make them 14 plus, a bit darker. I believe the Amazing Spider-Man series was 14 plus. I believe PG-13 or 14 plus. I don't remember. I'll babble on for a good 24 minutes here, and then the final part, I'll read the rest of Lord of the Rings. And that's how top notch my Scotch is coming. You're looking at amazing movies from my company, man. All my five movies, you're looking at amazing movies, man. You're looking at one of the best movies ever made, man. You have Last of Zanus, the Great Escape movie, They're Unique, the Hidden Vampire movie, and you have the Western Gangster movie. You're looking at something top notch. And there's a good chance after those five movies, after I'm done my first phase, so 25 years from now, once all the five movies are filmed, I'm considering purchasing the rights from Hollywood for the Spider-Man Miles Morales brand. It won't cost me that much. It'll probably cost me a good, I don't know, $800 million to $1 billion to purchase. Probably a good $600 million to like $800 million to purchase. Because Miles Morales Spider-Man isn't a big brand in Hollywood. They made some cartoon movie, obviously, a couple years ago, but that's it. They didn't make any real movies of Spider-Man Miles Morales, obviously. The Spider-Man brand is already owned by Sony and Marvel, so that's a big no. But the Spider-Man Miles Morales brand is not owned by them. And so I'm going to have to purchase the rights off what? Off Hollywood for the Spider-Man Miles. There's a good chance I'm going to do that, man. I'm going to purchase the rights off Hollywood. You guys already know, you can see the future. I'm going to purchase the rights of Hollywood for a Spider-Man Miles Morales trilogy. I'm going to do a trilogy of Spider-Man Miles Morales, obviously. And then after the trilogy, I'll do another different two movies. Then that will end my phase 2. But this is way down the road. This is a long time from now. So there's a good chance I'm thinking. I mentioned Uncharted, but Hollywood's already doing an Uncharted movie with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. So I'm not gonna purchase the rights off Uncharted. No, they're already doing an Uncharted movie with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, you're welcome, guys. I'm promoting your movie out there. Hence, I'm not gonna purchase the rights off Uncharted anymore. It's too late for that, obviously. I was thinking of doing the hockey series, but for hockey, I have to learn how to skate, learn how to play hockey. You know what I'm saying? So it's a bit more complicated. That's why I decided not to do that series. I'm really, really feeling the Spider-Man Miles Morales series after my 5 movies, obviously. Spider-Man Miles Morales is a black Spider-Man. So you have the white Spider-Man, you have the black Spider-Man. The black Spider-Man is Miles Morales, obviously. And if I purchase the rights off of Hollywood, which they most likely will accept, I'll make my movies on average for a good $600 million. And you're looking at something better quality. You're looking at better quality Spider-Man movies than what you got for even the Spider-Man movies that got released in Hollywood. If you think the Marvel Spider-Man movie, you know what I'm saying? The Sony Spider-Man movie with what? Tobey Maguire were good. Imagine putting $600 million towards a Spider-Man Miles Morales movie. VJ is my girlfriend, obviously. And because I'll be 30 years old forever, I could easily play a 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kid, obviously. Easy play as 17. What I'll do for the movie, I won't have my beard. I'll shave my beard. That way I look younger and what? You're looking at a top-notch movie for that. There's a good chance I'm going to purchase the rights for Spider-Man Miles Morales after the 25 years are up. We'll see what happens. After the 5 movies, I'll have that big talk with my wife. Hey, VG, what series should we do? What movie should we do next? I'm thinking of purchasing the rights for Spider-Man Miles Morales. I'm going to have that big talk with my wife, obviously, after 25 years from now, which is a long time from now, man. 25 years is a long time from now. Hence why we'll see what happens after the 5 movies, obviously. And that's why Scorsese will be the best brand in the entertainment industry, is all my movies looking at very entertaining movies. I'm hiring good people. Hence why I'm hiring good, talented people, obviously. Very good, talented people. Obviously, right? For all my movies, obviously. Because for all my movies, I want all the directors chosen to co-write it with me. That way you get a better movie. As there's nothing worse than directing a movie that you didn't write. No, man. You need, in my opinion, all the directors who are chosen for my movies, you guys know who you are. I want you guys co-writing it with me and my two script developers. That way you get good quality for your movie, obviously. The more minds you have in your script, the better movie you're going to get. If you do, I'm not a fan of writing scripts myself, no, man. You need to always co-write with someone else. That way you get a better, you get more minds and more input into your script, obviously. That way you get a good movie. Because all my movies will be on par with top quality on par with these Hollywood movies. Because I'm a creative genius, I have the gift, obviously. I'm able to tell good stories. So you have my creative genius and my gift, obviously, and you also have these other talented people who work in Hollywood who are helping me. Hence why all my screenplays, all my scripts, you're looking at amazing scripts, man. Amazing scripts I'm going to be writing. Looking at top-notch quality movies. Trust me, you guys think I'm crazy now, but once you read my book, you're going to be like, oh my god, Ivan's fucking talented. Ivan knows how to write a story. Yeah, man. I'm born with a gift. I know how to tell a good story, man. Because I was born with a creative gift, obviously. Obviously, right? I told you, for the Great Escape movie, there's a good chance Keanu Reeves, Scarlett Johansson, Samuel Jackson, or perhaps Ben Affleck. I'm thinking either Ben Affleck or Samuel Jackson for one of the bosses. Ben Affleck is younger than Samuel Jackson. Ben Affleck will only be in his 50s. Ben Affleck is in his, what? He's in his 40s now. He'll be in his 50s by the time the Great Escape movie, so he's younger, obviously. Where Samuel Jackson's aging. He's in his early 70s right now. But I'm thinking either Samuel Jackson or Ben Affleck to play the big boss in the Great Escape movie. I'm thinking one of those guys, obviously. Whereas the instructors and the hitmen, I'm thinking Keanu Reeves and Scarlett Johansson for one of the hitmen, and they'll be the instructors. So they'll be training me and my wife and the other trainees who are signed on board in the company, and they'll also be the hitmen too, obviously. That way you give them more scenes, obviously, right? And then the guy from Legion, who was in Legion, he'll be the recruiter, and I'll have him be one of the bosses, obviously, which is pretty cool. And the guy from Coming Old Men, I'll have him be another one of the hitmen too. So you have a bunch of hitmen coming after me and my wife, man. That's why you're looking at the best movie ever made, man. Best, not the best movie ever made, but you're looking at one of the best movies ever made, man. Because the best movie ever made, in my opinion, will be Last of Us Anus. Nothing will top that, man. Last of Us Anus will be my best movie out of my 5 movies. There's some people who might disagree with me. There's some people who might like Great Escape better. There's some people who might even like Their Unique better than Last of Us Anus. I highly doubt it, though. Because for Last of Us Anus, you're looking at Eretas the Devil himself. You're looking at a revolutionary movie, man. The South is cursed. Looking at an amazing story. I don't think any of my 5 movies, none of my 5 movies will top Zane's, in my opinion. I don't think anything will top that, man. Because you're looking at the best story ever told in motion picture. One of, if not the best story ever told in motion picture, obviously. The only movie that might perhaps top it might be the Great Escape movie, but I highly doubt it, man. I don't see the Great Escape movie topping Last of Us Anus. The only thing is that it's cooler seeing Ivan and VJ in a modern time movie. That's the only thing that's cooler about my other 4 movies. Is that you're seeing me and my wife in a modern time speaking modern English. You get more relatability with me and my wife being in the modern times. That's the only thing. So it's cooler seeing Ivan and VJ in the other movies than seeing them in Zanus, obviously. In Zanus, we're in a fast world, we're speaking Old English. But Last of Us Zanus story tops all the 4 movie stories. Because Last of Us Zanus is an amazing story. It's a revolutionary movie. You're looking at the best story ever told in motion picture, obviously. Once you read my book, you'll finally see what I mean. You're looking at the best story ever told in motion picture. One of, if not the best story ever told in motion picture, obviously. Hence why the actors for Zanus are the luckiest, obviously. Because they're going to be fighting literal devils on the screen. You're looking at devils on the screen, man. You're looking at demons and devils on the big screen, man. Literal demons and devils on the screen. You're looking at something fucking scary. You guys into the future, you already know how horrific Eretal will be. You know how horrific Ephesus will be. And you know how horrific the wolves and bats will be. You're looking at literal devils on the screen. Hence why Zanus will be a revolutionary movie. It's going to change the makings of cinema. As you're looking at a revolutionary, one of, if not the best story ever told in motion picture, obviously. Yes, even better than Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. If it's done right, you put a lot of money into it. If you don't put a lot of money into Last of Us Zanus, it will not be better than. I'm going to say this in advance. If you do not put a lot of money into Last of Us Zanus, it will not be better than Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. I'm going to keep saying that. You have to write an amazing script. Don't write it. If you write a shitty script, and you don't put a lot of money into the movie, you will not be better than Peter Jackson. You write an amazing script, which I will. You write an amazing script, you hire good people to help you, obviously. Good, talented people to help you. And you put a lot of money into the movie, you're looking at an amazing movie better than Peter Jackson. As long as I follow my story, follow my book, you should get a good script. Because Last of Us is an amazing story. So as long as I follow 70% of my script and I add some details, I'll end up writing an amazing script because Last of Us is an amazing story. I wrote an amazing story. I wrote a masterpiece, man. I wrote an amazing story, obviously. And there's a high chance guys like Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson will be hired for my movie. Because I know if I directed myself, yeah, you know what I'm saying, no one's touching my story also, but I know directing and starring as lead is very, very stressing. Very, very stressing. It's too much stress. Hence why there's a high chance I'm just going to hire a director to take the reins. I'm going to have to trust the director. As long as he co-writes it with you and does a concert as you should get a good movie as you both have the same vision, obviously. So if we co-write the script together, we wrote an amazing script, he knows the ins and outs of the script, obviously, and he took his directing notes, and he does a concert as you, he knows everything to tell himself, he knows the ins and outs of your story, you should get what? An amazing movie, obviously. As Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson are talented directors. Same time as that, there's that nerd in me that doesn't want anyone touching my story. Hence why there's a good chance I might direct it myself too, obviously. But I'm going to say this. There's a very, very high chance I'm going to end up hiring Peter Jackson or Mel Gibson to just take the stress off me. I'll just write the script. Focus on my acting. Focus on my acting because I'm the lead, obviously. I can have those guys direct my movie, obviously. And if I do end up choosing to hire a director, I'll have Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson compete for the role, compete for the job, obviously. I'm going to ask them a series of questions. Okay, when I talk about the South being cursed, what are you picturing in your mind? What are you thinking of for the Valley of Blood, the Cursed Valley, obviously, where the great wars were fought? What are you thinking of the Forest of Galathea? What are you thinking of the Valley of the Dark when I think about the Valley of the Dark? What are you thinking of when I talk about Barak, the barren land, obviously? What are you thinking of for the mountains of Gilead? The western mountains of Gilead, the cursed western mountains of Gilead, where Ephesus. What are you thinking of when I talk about the caverns where Ephesus lives? You know what I'm saying? You ask them all these questions. Yeah, I'm thinking of something like Moria. You know what I'm saying? You ask them all these questions. What are you thinking of when what are you thinking of when you read about Eratet the Double Wolf King? Are you thinking of him as a werewolf? Are you thinking of him as a wolf on four legs? Are you thinking of him as what? A wolf with human appearance? Obviously. Do you see Zayas as a PG movie or do you see it as a rated R movie? You ask them all these questions. Whoever comes up with a better answer, I know Mel Gibson will see Zayas as a rated R movie because Mel Gibson's into that gory stuff. Passion of Christ is rated R. He's into that gory stuff, obviously. That's why he's very good for Last of Us, obviously. Whereas Peter Jackson, he might think of Zayas as like a 14+ movie or something like that. Because Lord of the Rings was only PG-13. Well, the first movie was 14+. The first movie was pretty creepy, obviously. But the other Lord of the Rings movies were only PG-13, obviously. PG-13, obviously. As I'm not a fan of Zayas being a PG movie, man. If you make Zayas a PG movie, it won't be as good. It'll be not bad, but it won't be that good. You have to have Zayas be rated R. There's sex in it. You know, Eratat's the devil himself. You have to have it be rated R, man. If you don't have Zayas rated R, the movie won't be as good. It won't be as good, man. You have to have it rated R. I know what I'm doing. Trust me. You have to have Last of Us be rated R, obviously. I'm going to ask these two directors if they're chosen, if I choose to hire a director. I'm going to ask them a series of questions. Whoever comes up with a better answer, that is a director who I'll be hiring. And he'll be competing for the what? They'll be competing for the job. But something tells me Mel Gibson's the right man for the job. There's a good chance I'm going to end up choosing Mel Gibson, man. Because there's something about Passion of Christ that's unique, man. Passion of Christ, you have Jesus, story of Jesus. You also have the demons. Hence why Mel Gibson's perfect for Last of Us. But at the same time, Peter Jackson, you have the fantasy world for the Lord of the Rings. And he's a good candidate too, obviously. But something tells me Mel Gibson's the right man for the job, man. Something tells me he's the man. He's the guy to choose, man. He's the right man. Because Mel Gibson's into that horror. Passion of Christ is a horror movie. You have the demons, you have Jesus, and you also have the demons. Hence why he's good for the horror of the wolves, the war, all that. So he did Braveheart, so he knows a thing or two about war. He did Hacksaw Ridge. He knows about action sequences, gory action sequences, and he's good too. The cursed demon ancestors in the south, the devils, the holy ancestors of the north. That's why Mel Gibson's good for, because he did a Jesus movie. He's good for what? For my Last of Us movie. But Peter Jackson's also good because you have the what? You have the fantasy world for Lord of the Rings, obviously. Again, you guys see the future. You already know. If I choose to hire a director, you already know who I'm going to choose. You guys already know if I'm going to direct myself, and you already know if I'm going to if I'm going to hire a director. You already know what choice I'm going to make, obviously. But something tells me I'm going to end up. If I end up choosing to hire a director, somebody tells me I'm gonna end up hiring Mel Gibson, as Mel Gibson's perfect for the job, man. I think he's the right man for the job, obviously. And I'm willing to pay one of those guys, whoever's chosen, a nice $40 million to direct the movie, obviously, which is good. I'm not going any higher than that. And none of them are getting a piece of my home. There's a good chance their agents, because Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson are very big. There's a good chance their agents are going to even try to get a piece of my roles. And I look, man, you're not getting a piece of the roles. You're not worth it, man. I'm paying you a flat $40 million, which is nice. You get your perks. You get your $300 gas card. I'm going to feed you. I'll have you stay in a hotel during pre-production when you write the script and do the concerts. And I'll pay for your feeding for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at a restaurant in Vancouver if you're hired. And you also get your two $50,000 recurring check for the re-release, which is nice, obviously. That is my deal. If you don't like it, you're more than welcome to direct a movie in Hollywood and go back to being a dirty slave and go back to making dirty millions if you don't like my deal. I'm putting all these people to take a look, man. If you don't like my offer isn't good enough for you, even though I'm being very generous, I'm paying you a lot of money, you're more than welcome to go to Hollywood and go back to being a dirty slave and make your dirty millions if you don't like my offer. It's that simple, obviously. Which Peter Jackson, Mel Gibson will accept the deal as $40 million is a lot of money, obviously. As I'm being very generous. I'm paying you out of my pocket. I'm willing to pay you a nice $40 million, which is nice. A $10 million signing bonus. The moment you come to my office, you get your $10 million deposit into your check, to your bank, right? You get $10 million for pre-production, which is nice. So all Peter Jackson will be doing, or Mel Gibson, whoever's hired, if they're hired, they'll be co-writing the script with me, my two script developers, the first year. It'll take a good 10 months to write all 3 volumes. You're looking at a good, 450-page script around there. Before I said 500, 600 pages, no. You're probably looking at a good 450-page script for Zanus. A good 450-page script for Zanus. A long fucking script, obviously. Because I'm going to add a good, 30% of details and scenes and all that stuff to make it more interesting. See more scenes with Aratat for Fool to make it more interesting, obviously. More scenes with the crows that are not in the book. That way you make it more interesting, obviously. As my book my script will be a good 450 pages, man. You're looking at a long script, man. Take a good 10 months to even a year to write it. Because what I'll do is every day when me and my wife come to work, for the first half of the day, me and my wife and two script writers, we spend time working on the script. So my wife will be writing the script. Will be me, the two script developers. If I direct it myself, it'll just be me and the two script developers. We'll be working on the script for the first half of the day. In the second half of the day, we'll do the concept arts with the script developers, obviously. And the other guys are looking at resumes and making business calls, obviously. And if I hire the director will be co-writing the script with me for the first half of the day and the two script developers as well. So two script developers and the director, if one of those guys are hired, they'll be co-writing the script with me for the first half of the day, obviously. So I'll open my office at 9. I'll close my office at 5:30, obviously. So if I open my office at 9, from 9 to lunchtime, so for a good 3 to 4 hours, for a good 3.5 hours, for a good 3 hours, me and the two script developers and the director, if he's chosen, if one or two guys are chosen, they'll be working on a script for me 3 hours for 3 hours every day, which is a lot of time. You can write a lot in 3 hours, obviously. In the afternoon, we do the concept arts. That's how it works. We do the concept arts, and we write the scripts. We write scripts. And while we do the concept arts, we can also edit what we wrote in our scripts to coincide with we can edit what we wrote. We can even, there's a good chance we're going to do a little bit of edits for the script, obviously. But because I wrote my own story and I know the ins and outs of my story, I'll obviously be able to write an amazing script, obviously. As I know Zayas in and out because I wrote the story, obviously. I'm going to add 30% of details to make the story more interesting, obviously. But I need help, though. Even though I'm very talented, I know I need help. Hence why I'm hiring two script developers to help me, obviously. And if I end up hiring Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson, they'll be co-writing the script with me. If you want to get a better movie from the director, you have to have him write it. That way he knows the ins and outs of your story. He knows every scene, in and out. You know what I'm saying? You do the concept arts, that way he knows the ins and outs of the story. That way you get a good story, obviously. And there's nothing worse than having a director directing a script that he didn't write. No, man. Never do that. Always have the director co-write it with you. That way you get a good movie, obviously. I mean, as long as they co-write it with me and do concerts with me, I should get it. I shouldn't have to worry. I should get a good movie, obviously. But there's that nerd in me that's scared of having someone else touch my story too, obviously. I told you there's a high chance I'm going to end up hiring a director. And if I do, I'm going to have one of those two directors compete for the job, obviously. And if I do hire a director, you guys already know who I'm going to choose, obviously. There's a good chance I'm going to choose Mel Gibson. There's also a good chance I can choose Peter Jackson too, though. But something tells me Mel Gibson's the right man for the job. And those two directors, if they're hired, after the film is complete, even they're going to beg their asses off for me when I resign them. They're going to beg, like, Ivan, man, can I direct your next movie? I just want to work for you. Your company's so much better in Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? I got flown your nice private jet. You know what I'm saying? I partied it up. You know what I'm saying? In a nice luxury hotel. You know what I'm saying? I got spoiled. I got served nice food. Whereas Hollywood, I get served shitty food. Because in Hollywood, they serve pretty shitty food. But what I've seen behind the scenes, they serve pretty shitty food, obviously. That may be wrong. There may be exceptions where Hollywood serves their actors nice luxury buffet, but I highly doubt it. What I've seen behind the scenes, they don't serve them luxury food. I just want to work for you. I know what it feels like to be rich and free. Whereas in Hollywood, even though I'm gonna make a lot of money, I'm gonna go back to being a dirty slave. They're all gonna beg everyone who works in my company, they're all gonna beg their asses off for me and my wife to resign them. Because Sky Source is that top notch of a company, man. Sky Source is the best brand in the entertainment business. You're looking at the best brand in the entertainment business. You're looking at a top notch company, man. You're looking at the best brand in the entertainment industry, man. You're looking at an amazing company. I'll babble on for 4 minutes, and then the remaining 20 minutes I will finish off my chapter 7 read along of In the House of Tom Bombadil, obviously. And you guys like it better when I babble on anyways, right? Yeah, man, you guys see the future. You already know how top-notch of a company me and my wife are going to own, man. You're looking at a company bigger than all these Hollywood companies. Independent from the Hollywood system, which is better, and also better than all these Hollywood companies. And all my movies, you're looking at top-quality movies, man. You're looking at, like, all my movies are going to be... I guarantee you all my movies are going to be ranked as one of the best movies ever made, man. Because I'm a fucking creative genius. I know how to tell a good story. I'm a fucking creative genius, obviously. And Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson, whoever's hired, I'll have them be executive producer. I'll have them be the boss of the movie. I'll give them power. Okay, even though me and my wife are the boss over you, I'm giving you power. You're going to be executive producer for our movies. I want you consulting for business with the 17. You don't have to make any business calls, but I want you consulting. I can even have them help me and my wife make the calls for the cameras, that kind of stuff. Have them consult. Hey, Peter, you know what I'm saying? You work in Hollywood. What are the best IMS cameras out there? Have them consult. That way they can help you out, obviously. I'll have them be my executive producers, and they'll be consulting for business, and they'll have full creative control for directing, except for the concert arts. I'll give them 50% control for the concert arts, but everything else, they have control on it for directing, as well as they'll be consulting for business. So they'll be my executive producers, obviously. And if they're hired, or one of those guys are hired, they'll be co-writing the script with me. The last one was saying a script with me, obviously. And because they read my book, they'll have some good ideas for the script and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I read your book. I have some good ideas for a lot of these scenes and that kind of stuff. So because they read my book, they'll have some good ideas, obviously. And that's how much of a company me and my wife are going to have. And that's how much of a life me and her are going to live, obviously. Me and my wife are going to live in the life in our personal life, traveling around the world, buying nice clothes, enjoying our nice yacht, our nice 100 million with our condo, driving nice cars, hanging out downtown, going to nice restaurants, going to clubs, all that stuff, boat cruises, you name it, all that stuff. Same time, we're going to be living our life with a business life. The doc team filming us, starring as lead, we're big movie stars in a big budget movie, better quality movie than all these horror movies. Yeah, man, that's how much of a life me and my wife are going to live, man. We're going to be living the amazing life. And those actors are going to be, all those actors chosen for Zayn are going to be living the amazing life, as they're going to be saved. The doc team will be filming them. They'll be famous celebrities. They're going to become very famous from the doc and even more famous from the movie. They're never going to be the same after they film Lots of Zayn. You're looking at international fame. That's why they're all going to beg their asses off. Is they'd rather work for me and my wife and be saved than go back to working in Hollywood, being the side attention, and go back to being a dirty slave, obviously. That's why they prefer to work for me and my wife. And I told you, you're looking at something high tech for my condo. Remember about when I mentioned Tony Stark, how he owns this top high-end condo, top high-end house in the movie? Me and my wife are going to own a high tech condo like that. And those actors are going to get to part up my super advanced 100 million rooftop condo, man. Something high tech. Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson, if they're hired, they get to party up my nice 100 million rooftop condo too, obviously. If they're hired, all the directors chosen for my movie get to party up my rooftop condo too, obviously. They're gonna get to see my 100 million. Even though those guys are fucking filthy rich, none of them own a 100 million with their con. They probably own like a 10, 20 million house. And so they're also gonna get to party up my super advanced 100 million with my con. If they're chosen, obviously, whoever's chosen. That's how top notch of a company me and my wife are gonna own. Let's show my account here.